Well, guys, it's Sunday, and that means New Comic Book Day is just 3 days away. It's time to take a look at what books are coming out so I can tell you what I'm getting. What's up, guys? BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, and I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. So if you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Now on this channel, I do comic book unboxings, reviews, and haul videos. And in this series, what I'm getting, I take a look at the books that are coming out, and I tell you what's on my pull list, what's on the chopping block, what just didn't make the cut. So I always love to start with a book that I'm most excited for in a given week. But before we do that, I do have to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Ultimate Comics. Ultimate Comics has 4 locations in the Triangle area in Raleigh, Durham, Cary, and in Crabtree Valley Mall. And they are the best place to go if you are a resident of the Triangle area. For comics and collectibles. But even if you don't live in the Triangle, you can shop rare and exclusive variants on their website at ultimatecomics.com and twice a week via Facebook Live at the Ultimate Comics Live Show. So definitely walk into your nearest Ultimate Comics location and tell them I sent you. They'll treat you very well. Speaking of Ultimate Comics treating you very well, one lucky person is going to win this Artifacts Marvel Now Magneto statue, courtesy of Ultimate Comics Raleigh. Now, in order to win this statue, or in order to enter, you got to go to comicsaredope.com and fill out your information. Just put your name and your email address, join the waiting list. The website is launching on Black Friday, and I promise you are not going to want to miss it. It's going to be really fun. We're going to have comic reviews, editorial content. We're going to have new release information, just all sorts of stuff, all for your viewing pleasure. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to this week's books, what I'm getting. Now, like I said, I like to start these off with the book that I'm most excited for this week, and that is Dark Ages #3 by Tom Taylor and Iban Coelho from Marvel Comics. This book is just awesome. It's just Tom Taylor doing his Elseworlds thing. There was a catastrophic event in issue 1 that caused all electricity to cease to exist. That's one thing, right? And we're basically retelling this story as it happened. Now, I'm thinking, it's going to be kind of like a, okay, who's going to die type book like you get with Deceased or something like that, right? But it's not just that, because we're starting to see that different alliances have been forged. Different people are being used for different things. And Apocalypse is playing a big role, which I'm excited about. So I'm excited to see where issue 3 picks up, and just what all is going to happen in this miniseries. Tom Taylor can do no wrong in my eyes. You guys already know he's my favorite writer. If you're not reading Dark Ages, you absolutely should be. It's got a cover price of $3.99, and I'm just getting the cover A. And since we're talking about Marvel Comics, let's talk about the 2 other Marvel books that are on my pull list this week. First up is The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 78.BEY, right? They do this thing. I don't know why. They do this thing where instead of just 79, 80, 81, right? It's like 78.B, and then 79, it's whatever. Anyway, the point is, this is a tie-in to the current story arc, which is called Beyond. Ben Reilly has taken over Spider-Man's duties, and the Beyond Corporation is backing him. This issue, this kind of side story, is spotlighting the 2 girls on the cover whose names I forgot, but they're basically responsible for keeping Ben Reilly in fighting shape. There was a lot of training sequences with them in the last issue. Honestly, I'm not sure if it's going to be the greatest issue. I'm not sure if it's going to be totally necessary to understand the Beyond storyline, but it's there and it's on the pull. So it's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm just getting the cover A. Next up is X-Force issue number 25. Is this the first? This might be the first Dawn of X series to reach 25 issues, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's pretty dope. I'm still a little bit behind on X-Force. I was supposed to catch up last week. Where does the time go? I was too busy preparing for our 1-year anniversary celebration. But anyway, X-Force, written by Benjamin Percy, always a solid read every time I read it. It's got a cover price of $3.99, and I'm getting the cover A. And that's it for my Marvel Comics pull list. So if I just stick to the list, I'm going to be looking at $12 for my Marvel Comics. Not bad at all. Next up is, the distinguished competition. Let's talk about the books coming out for DC Comics this week. First up is the conclusion of James Tynion's Fear State saga. This is Batman issue 117. These are going to come to its natural conclusion. Natural? Unnatural? They're going to end. We're getting all set up for this brand new story arc that's starting with issue 118, written by Joshua Williamson. And that's something I'm pretty excited about. Fear State started off slow. The stakes have finally picked up and gotten faster as we hurtle toward the conclusion. Hopefully it's a nice, satisfying tie-up. I'm honestly just ready for all this magistrate stuff to be over with. I'm so ready for it to be done. And it's finally going to be done with this issue. And that I'm excited about. It's got a cover price of $4.99. And I'm just getting the cover A. Next up is another Fear State tie-in. This is Batman Secret Files, The Gardener. The Gardener is a new character that was introduced by James Tynion in this whole Fear State saga. She's a villain. She's a new addition to the Rogues Gallery, and this is going to kind of dive deeper into her origins. I love James Tynion's character origin stories. So Batman Secret Files, The Gardener is on the pull list with a cover price of $4.99. I'm getting cover A. Next up, from Jeff Thorne and Chris Cross on this issue, it's got a cover price, this is Green Lantern number 8. So Green Lantern basically has been following two different storylines. There's John Stewart trying to rally up his troops and fight this impending threat. And then there's Joe Mullen, who's got to try to figure out this whole mystery of the Central Power Battery dying. I'm still a few issues behind, but in this issue, Joe is going to finally solve the mystery. We're going to see just how things end for her. The reason I'm still pulling this series is because John Stewart is my favorite Green Lantern, and I really love Joe Mullen and Far Sector. So when they do stories with characters that you love, you got to support them, right? I just need to read them now. It's got a cover price of $4.99, and I'm getting the cover A. Next up, Justice League 69. I'm so far behind on this series, it's not even funny, but I love team books. Gosh, I got to read this book. What is going on? But anyway, Justice League 69, written by Brian Michael Bendis. It's got a cover price of $4.99, and I'm just getting the cover A. Next is Nightwing number 86. Nightwing actually am caught up on. I've been loving it. There's a lot of stuff that's been put on hold because of the whole Fear State event and the fact that Nightwing has to tie into it. But even still, it's been a really, really great series. I'm just ready to go back to Bloodhaven and pick up those plot threads that we left dangling over there. But Nightwing number 86 is written by Tom Taylor, which is probably why I love it so much. It's got a cover price of $3.99, and I'm getting the cover A. And last but not least, certainly the most controversial issue of the week, Superman, Son of Kal-El, number 5 is out this week. Now, there are obvious revelations that are happening in this issue that were teased, or not even teased, just straight up announced a month ago. But Superman, Son of Kal-El has been an interesting series, right? Superman is off-world, he's in War-World fighting, and Jon Kent has to kind of decide who he wants to be, what kind of Superman he wants to be, and more importantly, what kind of person he wants to be. So he's been exploring himself and his values a whole lot over the course of the series. And now in this issue, among other things, apparently he's exploring his sexuality, which is an interesting character development for someone who we'd only seen as a child up until, very recently. So Superman, Son of Kal-El, number 5, also written by Tom Taylor, a series that I'm actually really enjoying. It's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm getting the cover A. There's several variants for this one. If you want this book, I suggest you call your shop and pre-order it. There seems to be a lot of hype around this book for good reason. But that's got a cover price, like I said, of $3.99. And that's it for my DC Comics pull list. So if I just stick to the list, I'm just looking at a cover price of $28 for all my DC titles. They're always the heaviest on the pull list and on those shelves back there. But now we got to talk about the indie comics, the creator-owned books, small publishers, whatever you want to call this section. This is pretty much run by Image this week. First up, we're looking at King Spawn number 4. King Spawn, written by Todd McFarlane. First of all, I love this cover. I believe this is a Jason Shawn Alexander cover. King Spawn, I've heard, is actually off to a great start. I've heard the Spawn universe is it's about as relevant as it's been. It's like, it's really good. There's a lot of work being put into the storytelling, which makes me want to do more than just skim through the artwork. My bad, had to sneeze. But yeah, it makes me want to do more than just skim through the artwork. So I'm going to go and do a deep dive and do like a recent reads review of the King Spawn and the Spawned Universe #1 titles. But anyway, King Spawn #4. It's got a cover price of $2.99. How could you not buy it for that price? I'm just getting the cover A. Next up from Image Comics, Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino is Primordial. #3. Primordial is a book about, basically historical fiction about the space program. And there's a mystery to solve. And we got to figure out, who knew about this government cover up. But also, we're seeing what happened to these last 2 animals that were sent to space, which I'm so enthralled into the series. Like, I picked up #1 on a whim and I was like, yo, this is really good. Then I picked up #2 and I'm like, yo, this is really good. So Primordial #3 is out this week and it's definitely going to be at the top of my to read pile. It's got a cover price of $3.99 and I'm just getting the cover A. And lastly, rounding out the independent and creator-owned pull list is The Walking Dead Deluxe #27. I'm going to give you the same speech I always give you. This is The Walking Dead, but in color, with cardstock covers, with extras in the back. If you've never read The Walking Dead, this is a great way to experience it. And since I've never read The Walking Dead, I'm experiencing it this way. Covers by David Finch. I'm getting this cover A, and it's got a cover price of $3.99. So that's it for the independent and creator-owned pull list. If I just stick to the list, those books are going to cost me $11 this week. And if you're keeping track at home, that means my grand total before taxes and before my subscriber discount is going to be $51. So take that 10% off. I'm less than 50. I'm below budget, which is always great. I'm trying to stick to the budget. Now, it wasn't hard to stick to my budget, it wasn't easy to stick to my budget this week. There were a couple of books that I was on the fence about. The most notably absent is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. This is the design book featuring a bunch of sketches and character designs and layouts by Kevin Eastman. This is like that director's cut type book, the behind the scenes. Like, this is the stuff that you would hope would end up being bonus content in the eventual hardcover. And I'm still on the fence. Like, I really want this book, but it's got a cover price of $8.99. And that would have sent me almost $10 over budget. And I was just like, I don't want to do that. Because if I had to buy this book, then I would be trading it in for 2 books on the list. Now, Amazing Spider-Man #78, I could do without, I think, or 78.BEY. I could probably do without that. And what else on this list could I go without? If I had to go without something else on the list, I'd probably go without the Batman Secret Files, but then that would break up my full run of Fear State and tie-ins. So I'm keeping that on the list. I'm going to keep the Amazing Spider-Man on the list because I still don't want to be over budget. So I had to keep the Last Ronin design book off the list. Unfortunately, I did pre-order the hardcover, so hopefully this is included in it. But anyway, that's off the list. And another one notably absent is Robins #1. Now, a little while ago, DC ran like a fan poll contest to decide which book was going to actually get published. And the one that won was this book called Robins, where basically all the Robins are teamed up to solve this mystery. Batman's computer systems have been compromised by someone claiming to be the first Robin. I've read the series because it's actually out digitally already. Issue 2 is already out digitally, but #1 is out this week in print for the first time. The series is good. It's written by Tim Seeley. It's got a lot of heart to it. I love the Bat family, and I always feel like there should be a book where Nightwing just leads all the Robins because he's a better father figure than Bruce Wayne is. But, it's just not a book I need on my pull list. It's a mini series. I can catch up to this in hardcover or read it digitally later on. So no need to use up room in the budget, but it's got a cover price of $3.99. And that's the cover A if you were interested. So those are all the books that I decided to buy and a couple that I decided not to buy. What's on your pull list this week, though? I want to know. So let me know in the comments below so we can chop it up. And if you want to talk comics with me all the time, then you got to join the community, the K Squad. We're on Facebook and on Discord. We talk about comics. We talk about books that we love. We post our hauls, reviews, It's a great time. So join the community, and you can always visit me at comicsaredope.com. Join the waiting list. Like I said, you'll be entered to win that Magneto statue and some other surprises that I can't tell you about until we launch. So definitely join the party. Until then, I hope you saw something you liked in this video. If not, hey, that's cool. You can always buy what you like. Just make sure you read what you buy and be nice to others, because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.